BDS can completely steamroll them and have the perfect day 3.
We will get straight into our operator bans then. It's going to be Wolves kicking us off with our first attacker that will be going by the wayside. Who is it going to be? Hibana. Not too much of a surprise because, of course, we have a lot of hatches to work around on Clubhouse.
We do indeed. Not surprising to see that one going away. You see it on Bank quite a bit as well these days. 5 hatches on the downstairs. You have to focus on getting opened up. Thatcher coming through, so BDS going to be likely going for the more default bans on this map. May see a Wamaya ban come out, but a Mira, no doubt expected. A Valkyrie too, also on the cards in places. It's going to be that Valkyrie being taken away, trying to limit the roam game coming out of the Wolves.
And we'll have our final defender coming in, and we will get things underway. Here comes ban number 4. It's going to be Wolves taking Kaid out. So with the Thatcher ban gone, that makes sense. It's just going to give a little bit more access in towards those hatches, because of course if you've got an electrical on there, you've no Thatcher to clear it off. It can be a little bit of a difficult job. You're relying on your Maverick then, or potentially getting a Twitch drone in there or something, getting some explosives down underneath to try and clear it out, which isn't always possible here on Clubhouse. So heading into round number 1 then, no major surprises immediately looking across the lineups there. I think it's all going to be a fairly stock standard defence of the basement.
Lovely stuff, righty. I mean, this is how it starts, but again, not forgetting attacker repick is a thing. There's always opportunity for some spicy changes to come in. Again, BDS not a team that here really need to bring anything too creative out. I want to see what Wolves are bringing to the party though here, Tim. I want to see them out and around the map trying to disrupt BDS, getting up in their face, because that's where the excitement is. I love seeing when BDS can pincer down into players on the roam. I can also love seeing when players like Mowgli pop off and bring down 2 or 3 players before getting back onto site. I want to see that aggression coming out of both sides here, rather than it just becoming a bit of a game of chess. If you move there, I move here, you move there, I move here. Zzz. Let's have some fun.
Is that how chess is played?
10 seconds left.
Okay.
Normally you move somewhere though and you take a piece on the way.
Quick Desert lessons on chess.
I really enjoy
You move here, I move there.
That's
you move
it.
here, I move there.
I mean, that's how I stayed undefeated at SI.
That's the rules.
I think me and Demo tied. We stalemate.
I didn't actually play anybody.
Didn't you?
Probably
You scared me.
should've- No, I'm not.
I think, bless Ollie. I think he played chess before. He played it once or twice. Sat down with me, completely caned him. It was biblical,
So
honestly.
you were, so basically what you're saying is you were that person.
I was that person.
You were that person that gets the friend round after school and says, oh, do you want to play this game that you have spent hundreds of hours playing, and then you destroy them on it, and they have the most miserable time.
Demo does that. We played a game probably about last year, I think, and there's 4 new players, 6-player game, 4 new players, and I was like, okay, then Demo, you're the kind of guy that's got to hunt down the innocents here, so be gentle, don't go too hard on them. He killed them all in the first night. And I was like, Demo, that is not how this is meant to go, but that's the kind of stuff you got to do. So it's me trying to hand it back to Ollie. Ollie sadly always gets the butt end of the stick, or the short end of the stick on that one, bless him. So here we are. A little bit of early aggression between both sides, by the way. Bit almost losing his life around Adam. Then chucked a C4 out the window, did a bit of chip damage, but that's been mostly healed back up. Playday finally open, coming in onto Rise. Mowgli, there he is, the magician himself inside of the garage. Finds one, Vivu getting one back before a trade comes through from Shaiko. Shaiko finds the second as well and keeps on rolling his way through. Rafal stepping up, it's a 2 versus 1. And Mowgli crawling back towards side has got to deal with a bit of a retake here. Rafal and Alems both in spot, but the diffuser was in his control. Finds a 3K, but Alems gets the close. BDS with round 1, but it did come down to that 1 versus 1.
It was a nice round from both teams there, essentially. BDS bringing the aggression, getting themselves on in there, but Wolves able to go toe-to-toe, essentially, and keep themselves really fighting to the last. As you say, Alems, he's been a little bit better. He's taken a step up today. He's certainly getting himself more involved, and he's hitting his shots, and that was a nice headshot to finish things off there. So heading into round 2, BDS take a successful attack to begin with, and the thing for Wolves here is they don't want to get themselves too far behind. They're on the defence. They need to be picking up at least, I would say, 3 or 4 rounds.
Definitely, yeah, and I think this is the beauty for BDS today is normally we're looking at this team and everyone's like, if Shaiko's popping off, they're going to win. If he's not, they're not doing well. I like today that we are seeing those kind of multiple players stepping up, where we've had Rafal again going nuts. He was like 7-1 at one point in the last game, playing mainly on the DKB. You had Shaiko, a bit of a slow start, then rocked up with the 3K, 4K in later rounds. The same out of Playday. There were multiple players starting to fire on all cylinders, and that is what you need if you're going to make your way through the playoffs. You can't afford to be a one-man army as you start getting towards those later stages of the competition. Here we go, though, once again, with Wolves now moving on to the upstairs, not in terms of sight, but in terms of their roam. Reinforcing up these walls, I've got the Mute on side. Wouldn't be surprised to see kind of like a pseudo SSGS drone that we used to see, normally including a mute and a mozzie. But with just a mute on side, you can still deny away walls, get rid of a couple of drones on the way through. It's not as hard to commit to a top floor roam, but it's enough still to hopefully slow down the attackers.
Shaco is well aware that somebody's playing inside of there. He's just going to dip himself away. Bibu hasn't taken the opportunity. He goes out. Shaco knew it was coming. Get played, Bibu! As Shaco knows exactly what the plan was. Waits around the corner and then springs the trap as soon as Bibu goes out. Beautiful opening kill there from Shaco.
Read him like an absolute buck. The drone was the bait, and my God, did he bite like a champion. Love to see it. Shaco playing super well at the start of the round. Now, the one thing to be nervous of on the side of Wolves is that Raval is on this Monty. As these numbers dwindle on the side of the defenders, the more oppressive that Monty is going to become. Interestingly, we did see his win rate drop quite a bit once he had the kind of knockback changes come in, where it was a lot easier to knock off balance and ultimately kill. But some teams, at least here, thinking about Anaton as a great example, are still making good use of this Monty in a number of rounds.
Shaco just making sure he can be confident that there's nobody playing in behind the generators there by dumping the nades in, and that just means that he can get aggressive and start moving forward into blue, as Rafal will also do, moving in from Dirt Tunnel at the same time. Just pinging out that utility is a Banshee that's just going to be stopping him moving in too quickly, but it will likely be cleared out from blue. If Shaco's got the Gon 6, it will likely be the target of that Renshiro. He's going to find a nade kill onto P4, and unfortunately he takes out his own Monty. That really isn't ideal. Mowgli manages to get Playday along the way. 3v3 as BDS really settle into this attack.
For all I was saying about how oppressive the Monty gets as the numbers dwindle, it doesn't quite mean take him out yourself, man. Not the ideal start for the round, or mid part of this round. It was originally 5 versus 3. Now it's come down to a 3v3 as Shinka finds another. Wolves may just be able to capitalize on BDS's misfortune here and get themselves a round back. Renshiro, the man who tossed that fateful grenade, finds himself in a 1v3, puts Mowgli down. I don't think he's aware that he's done this either. So they're going to back out here with 40 seconds on the clock and see what he can do.
Mowgli likely to be collected if there's an opportunity here, as Renshiro's dipped away. BDS just having to know they're not going to be able to get across. They're too concerned about the dirt tunnel door, which makes absolute sense. Renshiro gets Mowgli, knows that that is done. He was trying to use himself as an information tool. Renshiro not going to allow it. He knows that they're both going to be on the right, and Wolves just need to play this as they did. Wait for that contact to come through, and I guarantee, as Rise did that, the second man will have stepped out from the door. There you go. You can see him on the side of your screen. Perfectly timed. As soon as Rise goes for the peak, you come out at the same time. You make sure that you've got the contact at the same time. There's nothing that Renshiro can do.
It's the times when you look at big plays that we've seen through history, like 1v4s and so on, it is normally because the team on the losing side, even with the numbers advantage, is because they aren't playing for crossfires. They aren't playing for 2v1s. They're just going in one at a time and getting mowed down. I think back to G2's fateful 4 versus 1 against Keenan on Secret back in EUL. You know, he took down 4 players by himself in a post-plant because they went after him one at a time. Whereas what you've seen Wolves do there, and it's a really good sign again, a team's getting the basics right, is playing for that 2v1 swing in which you're pretty much guaranteed to win outside of a crazy swing or flick coming out of Renshiro to get rid of both players at once. One apiece. We sit, and bar and stage, a site that we step into next to him. There was lots of excitement around this site when it first got reworked. We haven't seen tons of it lately. It was played once or twice in the first few weeks, and then we didn't really see it anymore after that. So I'm really keen to see what comes out in this round from the Wolves.
Yeah, it's one of those sites. I mean, it used to be a complete and utter pocket strat. It was like you'd see it once, you know, in 1,000 rounds, and teams would just do it because nobody knew how to attack it because they'd never practiced it, and sometimes they'd get away with it. Now, after the rework, it's a little bit different. It's definitely a more viable site. We still don't see it regularly, and it still is one of those that you sort of bring out and right, well, let's see what we can get from this. But it's certainly a lot more viable. And what we're going to see Wolves do is try to hold on to the top floor primarily, and this main stairs area that Shinka is stood in right now. Those are your 2 important angles, so that you can try and prevent any plant on stage, because the attackers of BDS are likely to want to get themselves into stock, open up the wall, and then get the diffuser down on the stage. But they need construction control in order to do that, otherwise they'll just be shot from the hatch.
I've seen some really good mirror holds on this setup as well. where you use both mirrors, not inside a bar on stage, but instead on the upstairs. One inside a logistics wall, so you control all the construction, and then one looking out towards the jacuzzi wall, which you would normally see on like a gym and bedroom style setup. But it just means you have so much control of the top floor, and it's a real effort by the attackers to get in. They can't get below and start nading you out or shooting things from below, no, because that's where the site is itself. So that's normally a really good go-to hold, and here they're relying instead on a little bit of electrification. We've seen teams like Heroic making use of Thunderbird to really make it hard to remove those players on the top floor if they keep on getting topped up. BDS so far stalling out a little bit on trying to get this construction control. Wolves with a three-way crossfire onto this angle, I think.
Shinka wants to just hold on as long as he can. Shaiko looking to push forward here. He wants to get aggressive. He wants to move into construction. You see that he's edging forward. He's looking for it, but needs to be careful. Rafale is going to find Mowgli. That's a good start. Rise is just going to have to dip back as well out of logistics. So that is exactly what BDS needed. They've got construction, so they can start thinking about the underneath. They just need to be careful, make sure that they're not going to get hit with a repush like this. Rise gets aggressive, gets in there, gets a kill on to Shaiko, and he's got some support, and somehow Des Wolves have retaken construction.
They just came out of seemingly nowhere as well. Rise just bursting his way through the bedroom doorway after Shaiko had just swung on through. I'm liking it from Wolves as well, rather than like stepping back and going, oh man, we've lost 2, we've got to play with 3 versus 5, we have to get back on site. No, they double down on that aggressiveness on the roam and go and get back 2 more kills to swing it into a 3 versus 3. Now BDS is staring down the barrel of a 35-second timer in that 3 versus 3. I'm not feeling super optimistic for their chances of winning this round, Tim, to be honest.
No, not at all. We've got Playday over in stock. He's got Diffuser in hand. Bibu's up above, and he's going to likely continue. No, he's going to drop down, and it's going to be the death of him. He should have kept himself up there. Renshiro was waiting. Elems gets Shinka, and all of a sudden this has swung in the favour of BDS. Can Rise come back with a big retake again? He's already done it once, getting himself control of construction back, but can he get sight? It's going to be unlikely. He's got the holes opened up. He sees the man, and that's the Diffuser down. Surely BDS are going to have a second bite at this. Yes, they can start putting it down, but as Rise got the angle that he needs, the cover is going to be there. He's searching, he's seeking, he can't find the man. He's doing everything he can, but it's not enough. He just didn't look the right way, unfortunately for Rise. He's still working from above, but BDS, they're going to retire and hold longer angles.
Yeah, why would you stay around this point as well? Don't expose yourself to the verticals. You can get out, and this is the beautiful part. If a man comes through a hatch, you see his legs first, and there's very little he can do that's going to mean he hits you first. A freebie for BDS there as they take another round.
Not a bad start at all for BDS. 2 rounds out of 3 on the attack of Clubhouse. We're going to see a top floor site this time around, I think, from Wolves. They're not going to double down and go back to bar and stage. It's one of those sites that you sort of, like I said, you give it a try, you see if you get it done, and if not, you move on somewhere else. So it's going to be gym and bedroom coming up in round 4 for Wolves.
Alrighty. This is that site we were talking about just a second ago, because Wolves were roaming up here so much in defense of the ground floor, whereas now it's just the top floor they need to be playing on and looking to defend instead. Not yet seeing a mirror coming out for them at all in any of these rounds, just not an op they're keen to play with apparently, which does mean things here won't be as impenetrable as they normally are when there is a mirror on side. Alem's moving over to playing on the Flores as well. Love seeing this. Again, I spoke about this back in the Astralis game when it was banned away by BDS, is that Alem's has gone on record saying that he thinks Flores is one of the strongest operators in the game. So no surprise at all that they enjoy making good use of it, especially when there are shields and bulletproof cameras on the other side to deal with, of which we've got 2 shields and a bulletproof, Tim. The only thing that may slow them down is going to be that mute that no doubt you'll find on doorways to try and stop this onslaught coming through.
It's all going to be, I get a feeling, about the east side of the map here. I think that's largely where we're going to see BDS come in for the take, and accordingly Wolves are putting a lot of utility out there as well. Of course, when you do that, there's always the opportunity to just come in from the west side, open jacuzzi wall and try and get the diffuser down, but you then find yourself with a bit of an onslaught of players moving back across the map. Rise is just going to clear out his lines of sight for the time being, wants to be set up, wants to be comfortable, and there is going to be pressure coming from that east side. We've got at least 1 playing on for the breach.
One thing I am mindful of, and always a bit unconfident on when it comes to this kind of hold, is you stick someone on the construction window south side and they get a wonderful cut back through the main angle back to site for the members of Wolves. So for BDS, they can isolate them here if they want to, and just have Renshiro even work your way onto Catwalk, open up the soft wall, you get a similar angle through to Cash Door. You basically have 2 bites at the cherry, as I said it quite Tim-like then, didn't I? 2 bites at the cherry. You have 2 angles.
Nothing like that.
You do, because you go bats.
2 bites.
Just
See, there you go.
That is
sounded nothing like it.
total baloney, Tim, and you know it. As much as that nade coming through onto Rise just shows that really they are in a pressure cooker. Another nade coming through. P4 getting flashed, getting fragged, getting everything coming in towards his way. He's hoping to find something in response here, but BDS are all over him like rats at the minute, Tim.
They are. They're finding those entries. They're getting themselves the advantages, and Wolves are always having to fight from behind. They've been capable of doing it so far, but they can't rely on it round after round. Shaco holding an angle onto the rotation to red there. Bibu
really
not going to quite go that far. Exactly that, Des. Usually you'd maybe see defensive teams just falling back at this point and not sticking around too much, but they've got the utility and the confidence. Shaco, 2 nades, 2 kills. How about that?
It literally is turning into a pressure cooker, Tim. That's 2 nade kills now out towards this extended hold for the side of BDS, and in they come. A wonderful C4. Didn't have control of storage below. Means that one comes in for free. Down goes Shaiko, but still it's 2 down for Wolves. They've got to find something else here to start equalising the scoreline before we start looking at that execute.
Rafal just highlighting that camera there that was feeding information in. Renshiro going to take it down, and here comes the pressure. They've got control of construction almost now, and they can start pushing through towards site. P4 low health. Mowgli and Shinka still looking all right, but having to dip themselves back into logistics to try and hold on here. I don't know if they've got a rotation into construction or any opportunity to challenge. It looks like the wall is open. I don't know if that's the result of the exothermic or not, but either way, they will be able to challenge in that direction. I think it is, and they will continue to fight for the time being. Mowgli might just get himself a freebie if he has a look here. Renshiro's gone in, but he's definitely there inside of logistics.
Yeah, Mowgli's just holding so tight. If he's like worried about a drop coming in and wanting to capitalise on that, but at this point, oh, Playday! No way has he found Mowgli as well. Like, he was to his right-hand side. Playday was looking left, and he still got away with it. They're coming in for a plant now. Shinka gonna step out, gets to spray down once again. BDS are basically out of time, but they get the kill. BDS getting it there with about half a second left on the clock.
Oh, that was close. I honestly thought that Wolves might just have won the round for themselves there based on the clock. They dropped that diffuser with so little time left to go, but BDS were able to collapse and get the kills that they needed, giving them 3-1 now and a tactical timeout for Wolves.
I spoke about before how fearful you can be of BDS's attacks on this map, Tim, and they're showing it here in spades. Sure, it's come close. Wolves have now killed Playday twice with about 5 seconds on the clock with the diffuser going down, but BDS somehow always rally back and either replant that diffuser or manage to kill the last man standing. We might be going back into bar and stage by the looks of it, Tim. I'm hoping here that Wolves have got a different idea up their sleeves, because last time round for BDS they were wanting a 3 versus 1. It felt like Wolves might have something going for them, but sadly just in those dying 30 seconds couldn't hold on to that small advantage.
The thing is, the opportunity that Wolves had was all because of that big retake of construction that came in from Rise and Shinka, but to be honest, you're probably not going to get away with that again, because you came in through logistics, you hit them on the flank, but guess where BDS are going to be watching this time around? They're going to be watching logistics and making sure they don't get hit on the flank. They're not going to give up that territory twice, I wouldn't have expected. So round 5, as you say, Wolves going to have to do something a little bit differently here. For me, they need to hold on to construction, because this time I think what we will see, if BDS get construction, we're going to see a stage plant, because they're going to keep hold of it.
Absolutely. Alrighty. Oh, Tim, we have not seen this in quite a while. Now, we were slightly doubtful of this the first time we saw it, and I think a number of people were. It was all over Twitter for a while. TSM pulled off a very similar hold to this, where they really committed to having a player sit inside a strip club and just hold down that side of the map. And many looked at it and said, well, why? What does it really bring you? It does give you a nice angle to be able to challenge from strip all the way through across both sides of bar and stage by opening up a single soft wall coming through from pool in towards strip. The problem with it is that you're quite isolated inside a strip itself. So in similar what I was saying about the extended hold out towards Cash and CC that we saw in the last round, it's a similar kind of story where if someone gets, for example, inside the corridor to the left-hand side of bathroom, they can cut off your angle back towards site. You can be pressed from 2 or 3 doorways. There's the wall, of course, they can get a Maverick through, for example, so you have got to be really careful.
As you say, the big problem with strip on this map and using it in any circumstance, we do occasionally see it on Church and Arsenal as well. We'll see somebody set themselves up in strip with a few reinforcements and try to hold on, and it's all about wasting time, but often you're accepting that you're playing your life in there because it's a bit of a funnel. There's no real way out of there. You're sort of stuck, and it's a little bit less so on the bar and stage because there's the rotation through to billiards, so you've got a couple of options there, but like you say, if anybody gets established on the doorway, they can cut off ball. Yeah,
you reminded me actually, TSM used this on the basement site, not so much on bar and stage. I don't think we saw them play bar and stage, but on the basement their whole reasoning was you're controlling the one hatch that you can see directly inside a bar, and you have a very easy point of access in towards the kitchen hallway, which the attackers won't feel very comfortable with. They kind of have have to force you out of strip before they can look at taking control of kitchen hallway. So it adds more focus for the attackers to have to deal with, more things that they've got to work their way through. So I do understand it, and hopefully here it has some success for the side of Wolves. They've got a lot of their players on the upstairs, as they did previously. We'll see if they have that aggressive burst back. Remember last time round, Rise stepping in through the bedroom doorway and getting Shaiko after he just killed someone inside of the room itself. It's really good aggression, but I think BDS will be more prepared for it this time.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see the wall into construction opened up as well, I would imagine. The Maverick work continues for Rafal. He's going to try to get them access in there. Mowgli, however, he's going to find Renshiro. Takes a little bit of damage along the way, but that is a great challenge from him.
Ooh, grenade coming back the other way, though. Finds him and the shield. 2 for the price of 1. 0 complaints on that bargain they've just walked away with. So for BDS, equalising things back out at 1 apiece in this round, but you got Rise and P4 ready to take his place.
Rise taking an awful lot of damage there, and what did we say, Des? They're going to be well aware that logistics was used last time to try and push in and take control of construction once they'd lost it. They try to do it again, they get punished for it. Shaiko's there ready and waiting, and I tell you what, he'll keep killing you if you keep trying to play into logistics. He's already taken Rise, he's looking for more, and that is going to be another one. Can he find himself a third? No, Shinka shuts him down. P4 gone, but the plant is going down. As I said, they'll get control of construction, and then they'll try to put the diffuser on the ground.
Yeah, and here, Bibu can't do very much coming across from inside a strip. He's now the last man left standing. Bride thankful that this time round his team have got the cover, but goes down in the post plant anyway. A 1 versus 2. The Yokais have no effect in denying away that plant, and with 1 on the vertical, 1 out towards front door, is looking a little bit dicey for Bibu.
And the thing is, BDS know exactly where he is now.
Yeah.
They know that he's playing inside a bar. They know he's pretty much on top of the diffuser. So they just need to wait. They'll let the sound go. Bibu's unlikely to stick this. He's probably going to come off, and there you go. He was just coming off as Rafal peeked forward, looking to find that final kill. But ultimately, he wasn't able to swing onto the hatch quickly enough, and that was an easy shutdown for BDS, which leaves them now 4-1.
We've all had that 1, 2, 3 count in ranked stacks as well, Tim. 1 defuse, 2 defuse, 3. Okay, kill him, quick, 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 quick.
Oh no, I'm miles away. We've lost the round.
It's like, Tim, what are you doing, Tim?
Rafal's won it though.
You don't mess those up, Tim. Don't worry, I know you don't.
I do.
I mean, now you're grassing yourself.
There's plenty of players out there who play rank with me thinking, yeah, he does.
Fresh is sat back in the green room, the green zone that we've got, just like shaking his head, just thinking, yep, he's done that a few times. Either way, for BDS, they move up to 4-1. A very dominant first attacking half that they've got here. Well, attacking half, it's only one of them ready to go through. They should get all the way into overtime. At this point, it feels for Wolves that they're going to struggle to find themselves around here, I think, on the defense team. It will end 5-1, and then BDS going onto the defensive side may well just run amok and really show that day 3 was their day to celebrate.
I think that's what they're going to be hoping for, and like you said, it's certainly going to be well placed. I'm interested, the Wolves haven't gone to CCTV and Cash at all.
Avoid.
They're going to be going back up to Jim. It's sort of a 50-50 site now. It used to be, you know, a little bit better for the defenders, but since the attackers have figured out getting that wall open so quickly, it's just not one that we see anywhere near as much.
This is interesting because where we've seen BDS normally bringing along tons of frag grenades, here they've changed things out a little bit. Instead what they've got is the line and the decay beyond side, something they used against Astralis quite consistently to deal with the players out on the roam. Here, it's not so much roamers as much, it's more about the extended hold again, where P4 and the Aruni are, who am I looking at here? Rise. The screen's too far away. I need glasses, Tim. I can borrow yours. Those two are the ones holding out on the extended hold, but they're also mindful of Mowgli, who was playing with the C4 from below last time. I wouldn't be surprised if they want to get below into lounge and make sure that is safe before they try and force away those players that are on the extended hold.
Shaiko just looking in through the very bottom of the barricade into master bedroom there, seeing if he can pick himself any cheap kills up inside of the site. He's not going to for the time being. Nade goes in, likely looking to clear out a bit of utility. I'm sure he's not hoping for a kill at this point. He just wants to make sure that the centre of bedroom is all cleared out so that they can push into construction and then continue forward.
Indeed, just slowly does it. A lot more slowly does it approach from BDS in this round, as mentioned. They want to make sure they're getting more control around the map. I'm sure Rise there getting flagged out as he did move during that scan, so they know that he's lurking towards this window. Renshiro going very aggressive in trying to control this window before they've even got CCTV. Not that they need it, because Bibu's the one seeing him first. Down he goes. Shaiko, one back onto Rise. Bibu, the king of Jim, he's lifted a few too many weights in his time, Tim, to be knocked out of here now. Rafal bringing one back. A 3 versus 3 and still 90 seconds to play. play.
That's it, not a bad passage of play from Wolves there. Bibu able to really do some work in the gym there, picking up the kills and helping his side. Prevent the window push particularly. If Renshiro gets established on there, you're going to be in big trouble, and it was timed for Shaiko to go in and clear Rise out, so he was confident he wasn't going to be challenged from there, but they needed to make sure that he got challenged from somewhere. Rafal just dumping the utility in comes the Dokkaebi call as well. He's just going to be really trying to make it oppressive for these defenders to stay inside of sight, not able to move. Lems is still on the Lion, but no E1D scans remaining. Breeder, he's trying to get himself inside of Jim here to put the diffuser down. Shinka's going to take some damage. P4 able to get onto the windows, but guess what? Breeder knows exactly what your game is, and he's got the angle held down.
Shinka, you get a big 2k here on the outside. Bibu's found a 3k in the round as well. Breeder's hit the deck, and in he comes as well. Shinka, he manages to win that one out and does give Wolves a second defensive round, but it's still a tall hill to climb if you want to shut BDS out of this game.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy now. It was nicely played from Shinka and Bibu at the end there. Just using those windows, making Breeder look in two directions, challenging him all at the same time. Very well closed down from Wolves. But now that BDS get themselves onto the defence, you feel like it's probably going to get locked down, but there's always an opportunity for Wolves, especially if they can get Mowgli firing. We saw him on the ace the other day. We saw him get the ace on ace, and this could be the opportunity, Des, if he can repeat it.
For those that you're looking for Wolves to really have something special, but can't help but look towards P4, who has really struggled to get himself into the game. Yet Mowgli's been the magician throughout. But for P4, one of the quieter days. And we always say it, you can't rely on one person to be doing all of the heavy lifting. Straight down into the basement BDS go, though. And I've commented on this before. We don't really see BDS going hyper-aggressive with the roam game on this side. Though here, we have got Lems going across onto the Vigil. We have got the Mute on side, which can be played on side or off side. So there are options available, but I don't expect it's going to be a super aggressive roam like you see out of some teams.
No, that's it. I just don't think they've got sufficient utility to do that. If you want a super aggressive top floor, then you bring the Morty and the Mute and you just make it a complete information blackout on the top floor and make it very difficult for teams to be able to come in and attack there, making sure they have to face check everything. Lems on the Vigil is not an unusual one. I think Rafal will probably stay up on the top floor, maybe for a short period of time, but I wouldn't have thought it'll be too long until he's dropping back to side.
Yeah, hasn't opened the hatch yet either inside of construction, which normally is the go-to must open. There are no impacts available for Lems, so I hope they don't forget about that one critical detail. Otherwise, he may well find himself stuck up here without a way to get back safely as time goes on. Jacuzzi wall also not being reinforced off. Normally, Tim, you'd see that completely locked off. But that was Mowgli stepping forward, trying to get aggressive against the Lems, who we commented earlier on was 7 and 14 on entry across the competition so far. A great entry kill to get onto Mowgli and one of the hard breaches.
Yeah, and he's going well so far overall today, Lems. He's really picked his game up against Astralis and here, getting more involved, and you can see the correlation then with BDS. It sort of frees everybody else up. Lems is finding those kills, it facilitates, and they are playing well on the back of it. Now then,
true to form, Tim. They've got an opening kill and gone right back on site, boys. Yep, fantastic plan.
Basically, so now all 5 of them will play from site itself. But Wolves, first job, they've got to recognise, and they haven't yet recognised that they have got this cleared out. The Mute Jammers are making that difficult, so they're burning time without even being there. Clever play from BDS, and Wolves, for every 10, 15 seconds that they spend on this top floor, it is less time that they have for that final execute onto site.
And it's a really nice Mute Jammer, by the way, that I haven't really seen teams use that much. There's a Mute Jammer inside of Secret, which is now going to get caught out by P4 and destroyed, freeing that drone to carry on its merry way. Most teams just pop it just inside the doorway, tucked in against the soft wall. So it's a nice little change there that clearly caught Wolves by surprise.
1 minute 10 left to go and work to be done by Wolves here. They've not opened any hatches. That work is going to begin now. We're going to have Bibu opening up the bar hatch, and then they need to get established inside the kitchen, really try and get those angles. We're going to have goo mines being triggered. So it's just maximum disruption from BDS at this point. We've also got the stock hatch into blue open. Doesn't look like too much attention is being paid to kitchen at this point, but Rise goes in with the sledgehammer and just starts to open up the ceiling a little bit.
Got to be careful here that you don't get LMs come creeping back up a stairway, for example. Could try and cause some trouble on that Vigil once more. For now, still dug inside the site. As you mentioned, Rise is getting the work done, but with only 60 seconds on the clock when they first start opening up hatches, I feel it's too little, too late potentially coming in for Wolves. Now Nade's coming down to get rid of some critical utilities. They can start their march forward, but it's going to feel like a Hail Mary to me, Tim.
It's going to be one of those classic last 15-second bloodbaths down in Church and Arsenal. Shaiko taken down finally by the second nade from P4, but they know exactly where they're coming from. Playday gets the kill, Rise manages to get one. The diffuser's going down here, but surely they're not going to hold on to this as it's 3v1. They have to do something. Playday with the kill onto Shinka, and that's going to be BDS taking themselves up to 5-2.
Just tripping them up too much in the early round there, Tim. Again, those first 2 minutes getting 2 kills. Only then did Wolves start opening up the floor in kitchen hallway, getting the moto hatch open, and by then you're in a 5 versus 3. Time is running away from you. It's just simply not looking good. BDS very much in control here still, up at 5-2. 2 more rounds to finish out what would be a perfect day for the French side.
It would indeed. You know, what better way for BDS to go into the playoffs than the day that they've had today?
Oh,
they get up, they're on game 1 and 2, they come in, they just absolutely smash it, and guess what they can do for the rest of the day? They can chill out a little bit, and they can do a little bit of prep for the playoffs. It just doesn't get better.
It's the reverse Eminem effect.
It really is.
For those who don't know what that reference is, Eminem, in every game they played at 10 AM at SI, they lost. Anything else, they won. It's quite weird. Whereas the BDS here putting on the best performance at the very start of the day. Now, we didn't see Wolves play this site, Tim, but BDS are heading into it. It's going to be Cash and CC, completely locking off all of Garage here, just to make it a little more comfortable to play up on the catwalk. Some teams, and I want to say Wolves have done this historically when they have played this site, will normally then have someone holding around the lower side of Garage and trying to cause a bit of trouble on towards the Garage door. Mowgli, the player that springs to mind when I say that kind of thing. I don't know if BDS will do that. They will just stick the Wamai inside a Garage like we're so used to seeing, hoping here to be able to deny away all the utility coming out of the other side. I am also looking at BDS, mind you. They've got 6 impacts on side, none of them used. That screams to me someone Maverick opens the bottom, for example, or whatever it might be, and you just yeet a ton of impacts at them.
That's it. You can pick up kills potentially. You can clear off utility. I don't think they're going to have the opportunity as Bibu's just going straight in there with the thermite charge. So Extermit will open it up, and that is good early progress. 30 seconds or just over, and Wolves have got the East Breach open. So we're going to see what we would expect in an East and Garage take. The next step is try to get that Garage control. You need to clear off catwalk. You need to get that locked down, and then you open up the wall through to server, and you get your plant on there.
I actually think it was a small mistake by BDS there. They've got a lens on the mute, and normally what will happen is the mute will put down a jammer on the East Breach wall, and Maverick will come up, just cut a hole in it, and get rid. It's super simple to do. That is what would give BDS the opportunity to make use of those 6 impacts they had in back pocket, but because that jammer wasn't there, Wolves could just walk up and thermite it open, no bother at all. So those 6 impacts really in back pocket are going to go not so much largely unused, but mostly used. They'll yeet them at the occasional doorway or breach and hope to try and catch someone, but it's not really being used in the way they wanted to, given the lineup they had coming into the round. P4
with a big first kill onto Shaiko. He was playing around bottom Garage, trying to make it difficult for them to get in there, and Mowgli comes in with a kill onto Renshiro, taking him down, and this is not going well for BDS here. They nearly have access, the Wolves, into Garage, and once they have that, nice kill from Rise. He keeps fighting, Rafal keeps fighting, gets himself a second, and Rafal is the last line of defense for BDS here, but that kill is not going to be good for them. Rafal down, and that's going to make life very, very difficult for Playday inside a side.
Time to be a hero here, Playday. Yes, Rafal is down on catwalk, and I'm pretty sure Wolves know about it at this point. Up they come spraying their way through, and P4 just finding him through the soft wall. A nice clean closeout for Wolves there again. BDS, I feel like they made a small mistake in not having a war over that east wall because they forgot about the mute jammer.
I nearly tripped over the cloth on our table in that round.
Tim, I told you on day one,
my foot got tangled.
The tablecloths in Charlotte are sentient. Honestly, it almost happened over dinner yesterday as well.
I nearly ended up taking you out then.
I'd have taken a cuddle, mate, every day of the week.
I'm sure you would do. Wolves, they'd take another couple of rounds here as well. They managed to get themselves their first attack. It was nice. They dealt with Garage very well. They dealt with, I won't call them roamers, but they dealt with those sort of link players. You know, Shaiko down in lounge, bottom Garage stairs, just making life difficult. Dealt with them very, very well. Cleared them out and had all the access that they needed. And ultimately didn't even really need to go into site because the challenges had to be made.
Tim, it's Mira.
It's a Mira.
She's unbanned. No one had played her until this point. It's taken until round 9, but we are finally seeing a Mira being brought out. So for Renshiro, one placed in bathroom, looking out towards Jacuzzi. The second one should go down on the soft wall that you're currently seeing and get to work on inside of construction, because that will give you a wonderful view down into construction. Anyone who wants to try and aggress through this direction, which, thinking back to it, was exactly where BDS pushed when they were on the attack, it just makes it really oppressive and forces Wolves to have to get control of Logi or get underneath and shoot the mirror window out before you can push safely through construction. Adds more steps to the checklist, Tim.
It does indeed, and we will see how well Wolves can find the ticks on that checklist in clearing those out. Playday is going to be the man playing in behind the mirror. He's got his mute jammer down, and that is going to help protect him from that window being opened up, but certainly not forever. I wouldn't have expected. Now, he doesn't have a nitro, which is interesting. He's brought along the bulletproof cam. It's always fascinating one. When you've got somebody playing in behind that mirror, if you shoot out above the top of it from the shower, you can get a really nice arc, and if you just hit it right, the nitro sails straight out onto Jacuzzi balcony, and we've seen some really nice kills, but it's not going to be something that Playday can attempt in this one. Logistics hatch is going to be dropped as well. Rise dips himself away because he doesn't want to find himself a victim to a nitro either, and there's the attempt. Is it far enough? No! Rise has backed off. Just enough.
Imagine if he connected that. And the thing is about the C4 over the bathroom wall that you were talking about, Tim, holes work both ways. It used to be something you tell me every single broadcast. Nades can also come flying back the other way, and we've seen some real screamers come singing in from that
Mirror
jacuzzi
window
wall.
just got opened.
And there you go, mate. That's exactly what you're looking for.
I don't know which it was.
I imagine it would have been the construction one. Yep.
Yes.
There you go. Normally the first one you want to go for because, again, you need that control inside of construction. BDS have got 2 players there, though, and Shaiko has just done Shaiko things. Timmy's got himself for 3K out of seemingly nowhere. Moves himself up onto 13 kills in the game. What a day he and BDS are having so far, and it looks to continue. Bibu and Rise a little bit lost on what to do now. There's 2 of you left. You've got a lot of time, but not a lot of resource to take on the juggernaut that is 5 players of BDS.
He's just an absolute nightmare on the Maluses, and he's just absolutely unstoppable. LMs is looking for a challenge. He sees his man, he gets a second opportunity. Going to take a lot of damage off of Bibu there. Rise gets taken down by Rafal, and surely a matter of time here. The Thermite trying to push in, trying to get himself established inside of Cash, but there's going to be very little that he can do as LMs moves up the red stairs, comes round on the flank, finds the kill, and that's going to be a flawless round for BDS.
Well, BDS sure are looking to get us back on schedule today after we had a couple of delays yesterday. Games running a little bit later than intended. Today, things are wrapping up pretty quickly over here on the B stream. We had that first game against Astralis over and done with like lightning. This game looking to potentially be a 7-3 with BDS going back down into the basement. Church and Arsenal, where we head to for round number 10.
We saw this back in round number 7. It was a pretty convincing win for BDS. No, it wasn't. It was 1v1, wasn't it?
We say that a lot,
it was reasonably convincing in that it came down to the last 20 seconds when Wolves just had to rush themselves into site. But Wolves did a reasonable job of the rush into site in the last 20-15 seconds. They managed to get themselves a bunch of kills, and it came down to a 1v1, where LMs, I think it was ultimately... Or wasn't it in the first round? Am I remembering wrong? Was that the first round and it was Wolves' defense?
My head's currently wrapped
I know it was
else.
a very late push from Wolves last time around. So they need to work a little bit quicker, is the key message here. Lem's got himself an opening. Oh, that was it. Lem's got himself an opening kill on the Vigil, and him and Rafal dropped back to site after about a minute, but they'd done the job, and it just took Wolves so long to be confident moving across that top floor. They were not able to use the drones because they kept getting caught in mute jammers, and they were just having to face check everything. They burnt so much time, and they just need to move a little bit quicker, a little bit more confidently.
I want to break the fourth wall for a second, Tim. Is that okay?
You go for it.
Why is it when we say we're going into round whatever it is, we always say
It's
round...
it's number 10.
Yeah, but we always say round number 10.
Because 6 and 3 is 9, so
No, I'm not talking about that.
Now.
I'm giving you an example because I don't want to spoil the words I was trying to talk about. We always say like round number 7. We don't just say round 7. Why do we do that?
I don't know.
Is it because we're trying to fill time and space, and therefore we just think adding a number?
Just bulking out words. It's
got,
like when you do an essay.
Going into round number 7 rather than just round 7. You know what I mean?
That's a 3,000-word essay sentence, isn't it?
Oh, isn't it just?
It's a round number 7 rather than round 7.
Cast like an essay and just make it as ridiculously long as you can to say something. Oh, I'm sure you could think of some way of doing it, Tim.
P4 taking a little bit of damage there. I won't call it a lot, but Rise, he's going to do a lot more damage to Rafal as he finds a headshot to open things up. That's going to be the mute gone, and that is part of the roam gone for BDS. I would expect to see, yes, LMs has got himself back to site. Renshiro will do the same. They're not going to overcommit here, I don't think, and that is going to give access to the rest of the map for Wolves. Now then, need to get themselves Nice angle there being used from Rise through the hatch, but Renshiro's going to dip away. He won't get caught out by that. But Wolves need to use this time well now and need to get themselves ahead of themselves. You know, they don't want to be coming in with 20 seconds like last time.
I'm going to work on an introduction for next round if we get there that is going to be ridiculously long just to tell you what number it is.
Okay.
That's my focus for this round. So
I'm glad about that.
You can entertain the audience, Tim, and I'll pray that we get there. If not, I'll tell you what I was going to say anyway, so make sure we definitely get it out. But at this point, for BDS being down a man, it does give Wolves a little bit of confidence, a little bit of hope that they can keep this game going and get something in overtime, assuming, of course, they get 3 rounds in a row, which to this point feels unlikely.
Lems, he's just roaming around, not quite roaming, but roaming around the site on the alibi, looking for any angles that he can get up through those hatches. Not going to find anybody for the time being. Bibu just getting caught up by a goo mine, so that'll give a little bit of information, but not really much, because at this point, BDS, you know that Wolves are pushing into that mid-floor. 45 seconds left to go, and Wolves, I want to see them having some sort of impact inside of sight pretty soon. Otherwise, it's going to come down to one of those very late pushes once again. Lems, he's there to hold on to Mortordor, but bullets are raining in through Church Wall. Rise joins the party as well, trying to dump a nade into sight, will do so. Doesn't connect with anybody, he's just going to blow a hole in the top of the wall there. 20 seconds left to go, and Wolves still sort of being held at bay, but that's a big kill. Lem's taken down. That gives them access into Church now. Bibu finds Breeder. There's one trade back from Shaiko, but in a 2v4, this is not going to be easy. And there comes the important kill. Mowgli on to Renshiro. It's all up to Shaiko. He's in a 1v3. He can do nothing as he's shut down at the end of round 10. And Wolves keep this going just for one more round. It's 6-4 now to BDS.
So do you want to know how far I got?
Well, I did my best for you, Des.
I've got it. So this is where I got to. In contrast, the numerical value of the previous iteration of the units of measurement within this medium of entertainment called a video game, in this instance, the audience, casters, and production team are progressing into the next iteration of blah, 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 and that's as far as I got.
That's definite essay speak.
Honestly, mate, that'd be magic.
I reckon you could have a 3,000-word essay done in the introduction.
You probably could, to be fair. We'd find a good way to really stretch that bad boy out. That's how many words? About 37 words there, just to tell you what round it is.
Great effort.
Absolutely. Round 11. We're in.
Number 11.
Round number 11. Yeah, we'll make sure that one's definitely squashed in. Alrighty. Can they do it, Tim? Where are you on this one? Do you think Wolves can drag it back for a couple of rounds, or do you think BDS close it out here and now?
Honestly, I think we're going to see BDS close it out. Wolves got themselves a good opener onto Rafal last time, which just gave them a little bit more space than they had on the previous attack. They had the man advantage, and they used the time well to get themselves down onto site with plenty of time to go, and it was too long for BDS to hold on. So for me, it does come down to that top floor. We've got Lems this time on the Echo, which actually, as I'm speaking, I'm convincing myself otherwise. We've got Lems on the Echo rather than the Vigil that we saw him playing when they had the successful defense of this site. And I just feel like maybe BDS are going to give Wolves a little bit too much leeway here. They're going to give them a little bit too much time, and it just proved too much for them to hold on to last time around. And for me, I wanted to see Lems getting out in the map with Rafal, having that impact again for the first minute and a half, whereas that's not going to be the case this time.
I like how we're seeing Mowgli bringing the book along with the hard breach gadgets as well, where both teams have lent very heavily into bringing along flashbangs throughout this game. I think without the Hibana on side, it's a really smart choice. You don't need to have 3 hard breaches, you know, Ace, Thermite, and Maverick, when you can bring something like a Buck that kind of substitutes in along with the Sledge to help you with the vertical destruction, and has those 2 hard breach gadgets in back pocket to do the work that a Hibana would have done. I look at Rogue, who used to bring along, I think, a Ying and a Zero in their attacks of Bank, and they both have hard breach gadgets in back pocket. That's 4 hatches that you can open up. That is basically what a Hibana can do for you in the same sort of strokes. If you don't feel that you need the Hibana, in this case you can't play it because she's banned, I really do like that we now have 2 hard breach gadgets on these operators.
Gon6 just going to clear a little bit of the utility into blue there, but of course, importantly, there is still Shaiko in behind the generator that Wolves will have to deal with. But this is so much quicker, Des. Look at the clock, 1 minute 40. They haven't had to clear out any roamers whatsoever, and Wolves are starting to open up access into sight. So time is certainly not going to be a factor for them this time around. Shaiko, he's going to be shut down by P4. He was trying to get aggressive up the stairs there, and that was just poorly timed as Wolves are able to find that opener, and that once again leaves BDS on the back foot on this basement side.
Slowly starting to march their way forwards, getting rid of Shaiko, who's sat on 15 kills. Never going to be a bad accomplishment as your entry into the round. coming out of P4 as well, who, as we already said earlier on, has had a very quiet game. Only sat 4-9 so far. Was 0-6 after the first half. Mowgli, absolute demon with a bit of a mini flick onto Playday there. Bibu into a second. It looks like Wolves keep this game going, Tim. The screen goes red for Renshiro as a nade tucks in by his feet. Has to back away to the black box. Rafal bringing one back, but the numbers are heavily stacked in favour of Wolves.
Really are. P4 finding the kill onto Rafal. All that is left is Ranshiro once again. 1v4, Diffuser going down. Wake at a 1v3, but he takes an awful lot of damage. One bullet from Mowgli is all it takes, and Wolves keep themselves in this. We're going to see all 12 regulation rounds, and that is a big turnaround for Wolves here. As I said at the beginning of the round, I was a little bit concerned about how much respect and how much time BDS were going to be giving them. Given what we saw in round 10, where once Wolves had themselves established and got down onto site, there wasn't really much that BDS could do to hold on. So for me, going from that to saying, actually, we're going to play even more turtle than that, we're going to bring the Echo along, I just don't think it was the right direction to go. For me, you go back towards your winning round, which is let's get out there and try and get a kill to begin with.
BDS have got to be very careful here, because coming into this game, it was like a celebration for them. Like, cool, they've done it, they've taken top spot, absolutely no concern at all. As a reminder, they are only 1 point ahead of Astralis. They may have beaten them, they may have got themselves in a spot where winning this game against Wolves will guarantee BDS first place. If this goes through to overtime and BDS either lose, or even if they win, it's kind of irrelevant. They're still within a 3-point closing gap of Astralis, and the main tiebreaker is round difference. Currently, it is +7 to BDS, it is +6 to Astralis. So if this gets into overtime and BDS then win, Astralis basically just have to win in regulation against their opponents later on today, who are, as a reminder, yeah, we don't memorise the schedule because we're bad people. They're playing up against Chiefs. Now, Chiefs have had a lot of close games, 7-4, 7-5s, but it's still doable for Astralis to be able to get enough rounds to jump over BDS.
Yeah.
So BDS cannot get this wrong. They've made it this close to themselves now. Gym and Bedroom is kind of their last bastion, their last chance to guarantee they will be the first place team in this group. Otherwise, it all falls down to Astralis to determine their fate.
I've just got a feeling that today is going to be one of those days where we are waiting up to those very final matches for every single group to really know exactly how they shape up. Of course, earlier on, I don't think it's a spoiler at this point, I'm sure you'll know, on the A-Stream we saw DarkZero qualify themselves, so they will be through to the playoffs. We're starting to see it shape up a little bit, but we still don't know who's first, who's second, what's the seeding, everything else. And like I said, I just really feel like it's going to be one of those days where it takes until the very last couple of games on stream to lock it down. So don't go anywhere, because there's going to be an absolute ton of wall-to-wall siege action for you today. And I, for one, cannot wait to see it unfold. Now then, back to the game in hand. It's round number 12. It's Wolves versus BDS. Wolves already eliminated from the tournament at this point, playing for pride, and they can certainly hold their heads up high. They've had a great game so far. They've been playing against a good BDS team, but they are clinging on. They're keeping fighting, and they have come back from 3-6 down to find themselves with a potential for overtime.
You know me, Tim. I see a nook, I get excited. It's often that you don't really see her being picked up, right? You'll get a band away on maps like Bank, teams will bring her out once in a blue moon and try and make a big impact. So keep an eye on P4. He's currently down in the basement. We'll see where he comes crawling up, which stairway he kind of chooses as his go-to target. But I love nothing more than seeing a nook like slip past some bulletproof cameras, default cams, whatever, and just hitting a team hard on the flank.
P4 just holding an angle there. Not getting too aggressive so far, Wolves on the attack. They don't want to get carried away, don't want to throw any lives away. BDS just conscious of the windows there. Shaiko just holding his position at that doorway from construction into bedroom. They've also still got themselves inside of cash, so that would allow a little bit of an extension into CCTV, so long as Wolves haven't got themselves established in there yet, which I don't think they have, because there's 4 players underneath. They're trying to play the vertical nade game here. Are they going to get away with it? Yes, they are. Beautifully placed. Mowgli with an explosive kill onto Playday to kick off round number 12.
Yep, and the mirror window gone as well, so 2 for the price of 1. Once again, Wolves getting great return on this investment in these frag grenades. It's a good one to start again, where it's the 3rd round in a row. They found the entry onto BDS, and we've seen them lose those last 2 rounds. Will this be another one of those, Tim?
Loses the grenade there, Shinka. Not quite as effective as previous. He's going to get eaten up by an ADS as it goes up through the hatch, looking to clear out utility or possibly head towards Shaiko, who they know plays around those windows. But he's deeper. He's back on the doorway for the time being. 5v4, still a lot of time been burnt by BDS. 2 minutes 10 gone. We're coming into the final 40 seconds or so now, and there's still work for Wolves to do. They haven't got access to site. They got that opener. That's great. They've got the mirror window open into bathroom, but they're not in a position to start thinking about a diffuser plant yet.
You know me, Tim. 6th man, the clock becomes as you get towards those last 30, but another nade kill comes through. They're flying this game. Renshiro gets one, a trade by Mowgli. Great bit of team play coming out from Wolves. Alems bringing one down on the other side, but it looks to be all coming at Wolves. They send it through to overtime, and BDS, what have you done? You may have just cost yourself that spot at the top of this group.
It's going to be close for them now, like you say. Even if they get that win, it still means that Astralis can tie them up on points. And if we, in a couple of days' time, are sat with BDS taking a loss in a quarter-final match, we might just be looking at who else they could have played in that first matchup, depending who it is. So this could be a pivotal moment in this tournament.
It's very likely to be Oxygen, Liquid, or DarkZero that you have to play, because they will be the first place teams coming out
More
of the
than
other 3 groups, unless there is some...
We don't know that yet, but
unless there's craziness. I'd put good money. Well, maybe I wouldn't. I wouldn't put my house on it, but I'd put some money on it.
I think at least 2 out of those 3.
Yeah, if not all 3. Outside of that, you could potentially be facing off against teams like Team 1. You could be facing FURIA or XSET from Group B, and then it's either G2 or W7M coming out of Group C. Don't know about you, but I think I fancy more of the second pool and less of the first.
This is it. Those teams, you know, no criticism to them. They played well, but they've looked beatable at times.
Yes. I mean, they've proven not just looks, they have been beaten more several times.
More so than the teams that we're looking at going through in top. Yeah. So, as you say, that first, second place battle is, I know we keep, you know, hyping it up, but it is so important. And BDS might just have let that slip here, especially against a team that have already been eliminated. Wolves not really playing for anything at this point other than to spoil the party.
The Ying coming in, Tim, for a basement execute. Ooh, okay. Liking what I'm seeing there. Again, it gives them hard breach gadgets in back pocket. Previously, it was the Buck. Now it's the Ying, but changes up entirely their style of attack, so it's keeping BDS guessing on at the other side. And what started out for BDS as a really dominant first half, Wolves barely getting a look in, has now been brought back to 6-6. Fair play for the Wolves for showing they can definitely fight their way back. Just further proves that there are 2 halves to a game of Siege. Mowgli being chipped. Oh! Good night, Shaiko. Take an extra out there, my friend. Grab a pillow and hit the hay early tonight, because that was one hell of a shot to start out this round.
And things could go, you know, we're almost assuming that BDS take the 2 points here, and that's the battle that's going to happen for top spot, but it might not even be that. They might be limited to 1. It's 4 versus 3 as Wolves managed to find another with P4, and Wolves just really seem to have hit their stride here towards the end of Clubhouse. Absolutely flying. P4 is going to be on a little bit of a rotate, maybe try and get himself inside a garage, but that top floor clearance has gone pretty well so far.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. If this carries on, it won't be a case of BDS saying, oh, you might have lost it, you might have given it away. For Astralis, it'll probably turn into a win by any means, will be enough to get in the first place spot. Wolves really doing the North American side a solid favour here so far, but also doing themselves a hell of a lot of justice. Lems down to about 15 HP on a challenge up the main stairs. At this point, BDS just looking a little bit unsure of themselves as Wolves are building in confidence.
Shinka just getting the draw now. They are, again, well prepared, well ahead of time, only halfway through the round. Hatch is getting opened, Lem's on low health. BDS chased back to the basement and just, again, trying to hold on to angles. And that's not where we've seen BDS excel so far today. And I'm looking at the Astralis game as well, that's not really been their strength. These turtle defenses that we would associate BDS with, or sort of the historic BDS, are not what are paying dividends for them at the minute. Renshiro just moving around inside the site there. He's going to head out to blue. He knows that there's a challenge coming. He cannot win it as he's shut down by Bibu. And this is going to become a pressure cooker for BDS as the attack is coming from multiple angles.
Yeah, the Candela start raining through here. Wolves can go in for the kill here. They can sell those jaws on the necks of BDS and keep this game going. Up to a 7-6 will be a terrifying prospect for BDS. Shinka coming in, sees the man, goes to the 5-5, finds the man. Bibu a second. They're up to 7-6, Tim. What a comeback this is proving to be.
They might just do this, Des. They've got 4 rounds in a row now and are looking unstoppable. Just one more round round will do the job. The one positive for BDS here, Des, is that they get themselves back onto the attack. They've got themselves onto that side that they were more successful with, so maybe they can hold on, maybe they can take us the distance here. Very stoic faces at the minute on the side of BDS. We've seen them laughing, we've seen them cheering. Absolute beauty. Disgusting.
Was absolutely filthy. The thing is, for BDS, sure, you're going back onto that attack inside, but you've been batted about here like a ragdoll for 4 or 5 rounds. It's not looking good, is all I'm thinking. That confidence might be wavering a little bit. And outside of a really solid attack here, that'll be Wolves handing a defeat to BDS and putting them very much within touching distance for Astralis, who would just have to win in regulation by any means, doesn't matter the scoreline, to take the top spot away from BDS. This is my problem with BDS.
What's your problem with BDS?
We get so built up about them. They have a wicked game against Astralis, one of the best teams in the competition. They come up against Wolves, who had 4 points coming into this game. Haven't had the best performance. They've just been picked up as an org. They need a little bit of time to work things out. And when BDS can say, right, boys, let's not mess about. Let's get this cleaned up nice and quick. We can enjoy the rest of our day. They've really dragged it out to the wire and are now in a spot of potentially losing. And this is the kind of game that makes me nervous about playoffs. We've seen them do it time and time again, Tim, over the years, where they get towards the quarters, a semi-final, then just have a really bad map or two that sees them careering out of the tournament.
This is going to be their bad map, Des. This is going to be the bad map.
Tim, it's not going to be their only bad map.
Of course it is.
They've had a couple of those already this tournament.
They're going to get into playoffs and be solid, I believe, at this point. Rafal on the Maverick. I'm just going to keep casting before you can respond. Rafal on the Maverick. He's going to start opening up that east wall for the top floor clearance. We're going to see much the same process from BDS as Wolves did in the last round on the attack. Can they do it quite as well, though? That's going to be the question, because Wolves were very efficient, not only in the time it took them to clear the top floor, but in the kills they got along the way.
I do again want to give a shout out to players like Mowgli. It's always these 18, 19-year-olds that are sort of my focus the last few weeks, because they are absolutely lighting up scoreboards. Benja in Heroic's game earlier on, dropping nearly 20 kills. I think he got up to, I looked at I think it was a couple of rounds to go, and he's at like 18 kills. He was absolutely lighting things up. It's the same for Mowgli in this game. 17 kills he's sat on, more so than Shaiko. There is a new generation of gunners coming in that I have no doubt you're going to have to experience, and this is Mowgli doing his very best. Do you get back in? Do you keep on going? What are you going for? When does the swing step in? But Shaiko, he had the perfect read on it. He knew that Rise was coming and finds one back. More are coming for him at this point as well. It's a question of, are they stuck in there with you, or are you stuck in there with them? Mowgli finding a lens. I think they were trying to collapse onto him here. He gets back down main stairs. Both of the entries finding a kill apiece and then getting back onto site.
What an explosive start we've had. Shaiko a little bit too smart there to fall for that one with Mowgli outside. He just wanted him to challenge him, just wanted him to take that attention so that Rise could hit him on the flank, but absolutely having none of it. Mowgli gets himself back down into sight. Quite a bit of damage done, quite a bit of damage taken for him, so he's just going to need to be careful about his gunfights for the rest of this. Bibu playing underneath the kitchen hatch for the time being, and the hatches, speaking of them, will start to get open.
Absolutely. About that 60-second mark, we've been here before, Tim. I think it was Wolves who had about 60 seconds on the clock to start swinging the hammer, getting the hatches opened up and start thinking about what an execute could look like. So with that timer slowly ticking away, this is where BDS themselves need to rally around and come up with a game plan. They've got 4 frag grenades still sat in back pocket. They can be eating downstairs here and getting rid of utility, getting rid of members of the enemy team, but you've got to start doing it fast, boys. There's only 30 seconds left.
Chiro just going to work on that floor as quickly as he can, but as you say, each ticking second, each time one of those passes by, it's another chance that BDS are not going to get the win here. Here comes the aggression. Shaiko gets one. Can he get more? No, he's going to get... Oh, he somehow gets it! He gets flanked from the generator in blue, but just manages to put the afterburners on turn 180 and find a kill. Shaiko with another. Shaiko with another. How many times? I'll say it 5 times, Des, because that's how many kills Shaiko got. And that's what BDS needed to keep them in this. What an ace there. He got lucky at points not to get gunned down, but you've just got to ride that luck sometimes.
He did, Tim, but again, if that's what it's taking, is Shaiko getting 5 kills to get you into a 2 versus 1 at the very end of a round. It's a little bit close still for my liking. Mowgli doing a lot of work himself, but Shaiko sadly just having the bigger pop-off round. 7-7 we sit at. I think Shoko's now, what, 21 kills on this map as well? It's ludicrous.
The thing is, it's like I've said, you've got to be able to win ugly if you're going to win a tournament, and that is exactly what this would be. They've got into a brawl with Wolves, and if Shaiko has to turn an ace to get them into the last round, to get them the win, that's what you need from a championship winning team sometimes. You need to have that ability. How many times have we seen it out of Liquid, for example, Paolunesque, where they'll just turn around on its head and all of a sudden, bang, they go on to win the matchup. And you need to be able to do that at times in a tournament because you're not always going to win 7-3. You're not always going to win 7-2. You're going to have to scrap for every point.
One thing is for sure, though, Tim, this game has been a real spectacle between these two. It's a matchup that we've seen time and time again in the European League, so if you like it, come watch some more of this sometime with us. By all means, we'd enjoy having you there. But again, it's giving a real showcase of what both teams have really got in spades here. Mowgli and Shaiko are going head-to-head. There's 2 kills between them at this point, and of all rounds to do it, Alems goes, you know what, let's throw a real spanner in the work. Let's play a Doc, of all things.
I mean, you don't see it too often.
No,
I will say
never.
that. We've seen Alems changing operator to operator. He was on Vigil the first time they defended here. We've seen him play Alibi down here. We've seen him play Echo. We've now seen him play Doc. It's his 4th different operator for the defences of Church and Arsenal. I'm fascinated to see where he's going to be playing that Doc. You know, there's an opportunity for him to get out on the roam, really. I don't think he's going to be doing it because BDS are pretty much locked up down in the basement, and I'm a little bit concerned by that. It's not gone that well for them. The best rounds they've had down here have been when they've had that roam presence.
People's got him pretty quick here, it's worth stressing as well. He was straight down blue stairs, now sat at the top on drones for the team. Whilst Bibi was looking to move himself through as well. But he's got some hatches to get open here. Going to start out with the stock hatch, and no doubt look to the rest of the team to help him out with the others. Do want to stress, Tim, how many frag grenades they've got. BDS in their last round had 4 in back pocket at about the 30-second mark, and the question came in, you know, why haven't they been tossed downstairs? Why aren't you looking to really soften the side of Wolves up? Wolves here have got a chance to do exactly the same back to BDS, only they've got even more firepower. It's not 4 nades, it's 8. They need to find at least 1 kill with that. Otherwise, that question will come out about what's the point in all this utility?
Where's the end trait going to go? It could be decisive. Mowgli working from the main stairs, fighting against Alems, unable to find a kill, takes some damage, but will be able to juice himself back up. That health, however, is going to be very swiftly removed by Wolves as more damage comes in. Alems having to use another one of those health boosting shots to get himself back up anywhere near his maximum health. Shaiko inside of blue, and right now it just feels like BDS are clinging to the edge of a cliff.
Well, he knows there's a drone up there, but he can't see it because it's just over the parapet of the actual vent itself. So Alems is fully in vision line while he's been sat behind this point. He's got to kind of move himself now in front of the box or in front of the shelves, exposing himself a bit more, but it means the drone can't see where he is. It makes it a little bit harder for Mowgli, but look at this dancing back and forth. If only he knew there was someone on the other side of that wall. The spray would be enough. He goes for the spray, almost finds Renshiro down to about half HP. He is providing so much threat and control from the bottom of these main stairs, Tim.
BDS just taking chip after chip after chip of damage at the minute, but managing to hold on. They haven't done any in return. We've still got the absolute max HP for everybody across Wolves. We've got extra health from nanobots. We've got it all going on for them, but time, that is the only thing that they are short of. 20 seconds left to go, and a ton of utility reigns in. Shaiko with what could be a very clever relocate. He gets 1 but not 2. 3v3 as the bloodbath continues, and it goes back and forth. Flip-flop side to side, 2v2, 2v1 as Renshiro gives BDS the advantage. Can they find it? It's 1v1, it's Bibu, it's 2 seconds, it's the final kill from Rafal, and BDS somehow hold on for the win, going all the way to 15 and taking it 8-7.
And closing out in a 1 versus 1, Tim. Those are the dream games you can have. All 15 rounds, a 1v1 to close, and only helped out by the clock being in the last 3 seconds as it came through. BDS doing just enough to get those 2 points, Tim, but again, that really should have been 3. It should have been a guaranteed position in first place, but this doesn't mean now that they are absolutely safe. Astralis still with a wonderful opportunity to snatch away first place.
You just remember that Astralis Chiefs game yesterday, though, that was very, very close, and you look at it and you think, yep, Astralis should probably be taking a win there. Will it be enough of a win? Who knows? It is going to come down to the wire, and I cannot wait for those late games.
Well, again, just looking at what this does to the differential between these teams, BDS now are +8, Astralis is plus 6. So it turns out how this plays out actually as we go into the next round of tiebreaker there, because if the 7-5 win comes into Astralis, for example, they are tied on points, they are tied on head-to-head. And I forget what the next rule is, but we'll go through this in just a second anyway. We'll have a talk through it when we come back from a break, no doubt, as well. Overall, though, again, Tim, really good European showdown there. Something we've seen many times before between these two teams, and I really hope we continue seeing moving forwards.
Yeah, I mean, it was what we said coming in, that it was going to be a banger of a game. We knew both teams are so familiar with each other, and you just saw it there. Absolute pleasure to cast that one.
Mowgli and Shaiko just wailing on each other from start to finish. That's the kind of stuff you come here to be entertained by. We'll go to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about this game.